You're tuned in to Pyrocryptic X News, daily crypto coverage on the networks that matter. XRP, XLM, XDC, and many others. Let's get into it.
Today we're diving into something that's really been stirring up conversation in the crypto space.
Yeah. What's that?
This whole idea about XRP, and whether it could realistically step in and, well, replace SWIFT for global payments.
Ah, right. That's definitely been doing the rounds. A pretty big what if.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this one specific, quite audacious claim about its potential value we want to unpack today.
Okay.
We need to look at what's behind that claim and, importantly, what factors are actually in play here. What would really need to happen?
Sounds good. And we're basing this discussion mostly on that XyCrypto piece from April 13th.
That's the one. Pundit shares what Ripple's XRP value will be if it replaces SWIFT. That's our main source for this session.
Got it. So what's the headline claim then? The really eye-catching part.
Well, according to XyCrypto, this person, DigitalIG, they mentioned he's a former London fund manager, big XRP advocate. He put out a tweet.
Okay.
And the tweet apparently said, pretty bluntly, when XRP replaces SWIFT, it will be valued beyond $15,000 per token.
Wow. Okay. Beyond $15,000. That's that's a number you can't just ignore.
Right. It immediately makes you ask, how do they even get to a figure like that?
So what's the justification given in the article? What's the thinking there?
The core argument seems to rest on XRP's technical design, specifically its divisibility.
Ah, the drops.
Exactly. One XRP can be split into 1 million drops. So the idea is, even with a super high price per XRP, like $15,000, these tiny drop units would still allow for, really small transactions, micropayments, essentially.
Okay, so the divisibility allows the mechanics to work even at high prices. That makes sense from a functional standpoint.
Yeah.
But it's important to separate that from the overall valuation, right? Just because it can be divided doesn't automatically mean the whole network is worth, trillions and trillions more than it is now. That needs a massive jump in market cap.
That's a really crucial point. Functionality versus economic value. So to understand why replacing SWIFT is such a big deal, we probably need to talk about SWIFT itself.
Definitely. The article gives some context, right? Founded way back in '73.
Yeah. Connects something like 11,000 banks and institutions across over 200 countries. It's genuinely the plumbing of global finance.
And the money moving through it. It's staggering. The article says over $5 trillion daily.
Daily. Which adds up to, what, like 1.25 quadrillion a year? It really is the backbone, as they say.
Absolutely. But like any system that's been around for, 50 years, it's probably got some downsides, some inefficiencies.
That's exactly where the opportunity for something like XRP comes in. The article points out SWIFT's reliance on the correspondent banking network.
Right. The old model where payments kind of hop between different banks to get where they're going.
Yeah, and each hop can add time, can add fees.
Creates friction, exactly. It leads to slower settlements, sometimes days, and higher costs because everyone takes a little slice. It's not exactly real time, which is what people increasingly expect now.
Precisely. And that's the pitch for Ripple and XRP, isn't it? Using RippleNet, with XRP potentially acting as a bridge currency.
To settle payments almost instantly. The article mentions, seconds?
Seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
And at a much lower cost compared to the traditional SWIFT way. That speed and cost saving is the core value proposition.
And it seems it's not just, crypto enthusiasts saying this. The XyCrypto piece mentions financial analysts chiming in too.
It does. Some analysts apparently believe that if XRP took over even a small percentage, like 5 or 10%, of SWIFT's annual volume,
you'd have to see a pretty significant jump in XRP's price and its total market cap just to handle that value flow.
Yeah, the numbers involved are just so large. And then there's endorsements, or at least acknowledgments, from actual financial institutions.
Oh, yeah. Like who?
Well, the article cites Houlihan Lokey, the investment bank. Back in October 2024, they apparently called Ripple a strong competitor to SWIFT.
Okay, that's noteworthy. Did they say why?
They specifically mentioned Ripple's on-demand liquidity, the ODL service, as being really efficient, potentially cutting down the need for banks to pre-fund accounts everywhere.
Right, freeing up capital, that's a big deal for banks.
Definitely. And then, more recently, January 2025, Mark Yusko.
Morgan Creek Capital.
That's him, CEO and CIO. He apparently expressed interest in supporting XRP if it actually replaced SWIFT.
So serious people in finance are at least contemplating the possibility, even if it's a long shot right now.
It seems that way. You've got the bold prediction, the technical argument, the clear issues with the incumbent system, and now some nods from the traditional finance world.
Oh, there's always a but, isn't there? Replacing something as embedded as Swift can't be easy. What are the hurdles mentioned?
Oh, absolutely huge hurdles. The biggest one maybe is regulation, especially in the U.S.
The SEC lawsuit still hanging over Ripple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The article says a clear, positive resolution there could be massive for institutional confidence. Without it, well, it's tough.
Makes sense. Big institutions need clarity before they jump in. What else?
Just the sheer scale. Can the XRP ledger, the XRPL, actually handle that kind of volume? Swift processes an unbelievable number of transactions.
Right. Reliability at that scale is non-negotiable. The XRPL is fast for settlement, sure, but can it manage Swift-level throughput consistently, day in, day out, especially during peak times?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? The article does mention liquidity management and infrastructure needing potential upgrades.
Yeah, you'd need incredibly deep liquidity pools across all sorts of currency corridors.
But it also points out Ripple is actively working on this stuff. Their ODL service is mentioned again as being designed to tackle these kinds of scalability and liquidity challenges.
So they're aware of the mountain they need to climb, at least.
Seems so. So let's kind of recap. We started with this very striking $15,000 prediction for XRP if it displaces Swift.
Yep, based on its divisibility, according to the pundit.
We looked at Swift dominant massive volume, but kind of slow and costly because of its old architecture.
And then XRP is the potential challenger, offering speed and lower costs, with some backing from analysts and even mentions from firms like Houlihan Lokey and Yusko.
But then the reality check. Major hurdles like regulation, that SEC case looms large, and the immense challenge of scaling the technology to reliably handle Swift-level transaction volumes.
It's a fascinating scenario, no doubt. The potential is huge, but the if is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. The path from here to replacing Swift is far from clear.
Absolutely. It's a long road if it's even possible.
Which actually makes me think, looking beyond just XRP versus Swift, given how much money moves around the globe every day and how technology is changing everything, what other big shifts are on the horizon? Like, what other technologies, maybe AI or quantum computing someday, or even significant changes in global regulations, do you think could fundamentally alter how we handle international finance in the future?
That's a great question to ponder. It's clearly not just about crypto versus the old guard anymore, is it? There are probably other forces at play we haven't even fully grasped yet.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. The whole space is evolving so rapidly.
That's it for today on Pyrocryptic X News. Stay sharp, stay informed, and catch the next drop right here.